Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. Welcome to another singular only Copy That Whetstone Wednesday, the only Wednesday that is also a whetstone. What is a whetstone, you may ask? It is a rock that is used to sharpen a blade. In this metaphor, your copywriting is a blade, and we're stoned. How do
We
metaphors work again?
we could have named
Oh
it much
God.
better. We
We
tried
went
to
for
be
the
too
alliteration, and
pretentious.
going for the alliteration is always a mistake.
Yeah, we should have just said pay us to review copy Wednesdays. All right. Okay, let's
The
start.
copy critique streams
Or
of
that.
people that want their copy critiqued. That's the new title of Whetstone Wednesdays. We have some interesting things to look at today. We're going to do this a little bit differently. So normally, here's how this works. Patreon subscribers at patreon.com/the copy that show. Hey, we have a special little banner that I love CTAs. Here we go. If you are a member of our Patreon, you can join for $20 and you can hook up your Discord account. And hey, presto, you'll get access to a special channel called Exclusive Critiques. And then every other Wednesday or so, we do one of these where we actually go through and look at and comment on your copy. One of the things that we're doing right at the moment is it's not really a contest so much as it is a standing offer to all viewers of Copy That if you write product page copy for one of the products that are listed at copythatshow.com, we'll pay you. I think did I promise $150?
I think we said 150 there or thereabouts.
Yeah. So, I mean, all the rules and stipulations and stuff like that are available on Patreon. They are available in the Discord, et cetera, et cetera. But basically, it's a chance for Patreon subscribers to, one, get feedback from professionals, two, write stuff for money, and three, I don't know, feel good about themselves. Feel good about themselves. So,
Yeah.
that was all the context. We have a few things to look at today. We have a lot of product descriptions, so much that we actually don't have time for today because we do need to stop at, what did you say, 5:30?
I don't know what time it is there.
It
10?
is 3:35.
10.
10. So that's
It's 8:35 right now.
okay. So an hour and a half. So
That's the
here's what
one.
I did. I queued up all the non-product description copy and I put that first. And then I noticed that 5 different people, wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 different people all wrote a product description for the same product.
Damn.
And so I collected those specifically for 2 reasons. One, because it's actually going to be educational for you, viewer, who has never written a copies before, to actually see like how different copywriters and different thinkers approach the same idea and the same tactic, so that you can actually get a sense of like what's on the menu in the grand scope that is copy and marketing. And the other reason for that too is because what I would like to do out of those 5 is pick one winner and tell that person some things that we want them to revise, but basically say like, of these 5, this one's the best. We want to publish it with revision, and also here's a check. So by the end of this stream, somebody is going to get $150.
And you know what's even more exciting is that we only need to pay out 145 of that because someone just gave us $5 in the comments. Like,
So we have another thing. Like, I feel like the Copy That lore has gotten so robust that we need like a guide to, like, we need like Warhammer 40K lore videos, but just for our
oh,
stuff.
please.
If you donate $5, we'll answer a question like just randomly.
Whenever,
So
wherever.
here we go. I'll watch this later at work. What's the best entry level copywriting gigs to build a portfolio? So there are a couple answers to that. Really quick. One, you don't need a copywriting gig to build a portfolio. You can just build a portfolio using sample or what are called spec pieces. You just write a piece of copy for any product, even one that you imagine, and then you put it into your portfolio. And then you can use that to get more gigs. Now, that's for people that have no job experience whatsoever. And what's fun is that as you get jobs with that sample portfolio, you start to replace your samples with real work from real people and real jobs. But What do you think, Alex, is the best entry level copywriting gig to build a portfolio?
I'll give a direct answer to this. Usually we like to say it depends. I'll give a direct answer based on my experience in this. Um, for the majority of businesses, certainly for the majority of businesses I wrote for when I was starting out, uh, what they usually want to see you've done, unless it's they have something specific in mind, i.e., they're looking for an email copywriter or they're looking for an email sequence. Usually, a safe bet is websites. Like website copy is just a safe bet. So if you are looking either to do spec pieces, like Sean just spoke about, I think having a few home pages, an about us page, a couple of landing pages for specific products in your arsenal, and actually getting them designed, whether you do that yourself on Canva, whether you have a designer friend to do that for you, whether you get a free version of I don't know, like Wix.com or Squarespace or something, just to mock it up. Like great, do that. Also, if you are looking for gigs and you're saying what's the best entry level gig to build a portfolio from, website gigs are like 10 a penny. There are so many of them. So many people are looking for like, oh, can you rewrite the homepage or can you do this kind of this web-based thing? And because they're so common, they're easy to find, and also they're immediately recognizable from clients when they're reviewing your portfolio that they've worked with another business on their whole website, so they must be quite good. So that is actually a very direct answer for once instead of an it depends. So that's what I would recommend.
I was going to say a rare Alex moment where he is willing to give a very straightforward and simple answer to a direct question.
Yeah,
Like
usually I'm scared.
that's off brand for us. Like I hope everybody clipped that because holy shit, that's never happened before.
And it's not happening again for at
Not
least
going to
another
happen
year.
again. But
All
I
right.
think what Alex is saying is a really like is really good because as Paul said, website copy is fantastic to jumpstart your career. They're easy to design, they're easy to wireframe. That is like mock up, so your copy actually looks like a real website, and they look great in your portfolio. And if you go back to some of our copywriting 101 videos, there's a link in the description, and you see like some of the samples that like Alex displayed, like as an example of what to deliver to clients. And if you go to our like how to build a portfolio video and look at some of those samples, one of the examples is actually some website copy. I personally have never written website copy except for the websites that I manage. So, I personally like that's not what I would do or put in my portfolio, but after your answer, I think I've been persuaded. I had a different opinion about what should be in a starter portfolio before, and now my opinion has changed after listening to you.
It's what happens. We influence each other. And I'll also say, just to further that point, and since you paid $5, I'm gonna go beyond the pale here, beyond just answering it. The reason that works, like what I just described, and I'll give you an actual story that's true, that's just happened. So I'm my regular full time job is head of sales and marketing at a health tech company, and I introduced a new offer to the business, which effectively was automatically generating websites for pharmacies and private health clinics, and it absolutely blew up. Like absolutely took off. People loved it. It was like the best month of sales or best months of sales we ever had. Increased the company's business by like 100K ARR. Really, really well. And the reason being is because every single business understands the value of a website. Like basically all businesses think they need a website. Not all businesses think they need emails or email copy. If you approach a business and say, hey, I'm an email copywriter, I specialize in these kind of sequences, a lot of businesses have resistance to that. I'm not saying it's a bad approach, and we explain in other videos how you can do that successfully. But for businesses who don't really care about copy, they just know they need to look a bit better, or they know they want to make more money or something, it's far easier to convince them that their website is the problem than, oh, it's the emails. So it's just a far easier starting point when you're talking to someone or when someone needs to see something that's impressive. Like websites, everyone understands that they're necessary. So that's whether it's building an offer, whether it's pitching yourself, whether it's sharing a portfolio, website copy, especially when it's designed, is just a good place to start.
Yeah. Paul also has some really great advice too. simple value ladder that he used when he started out was to do a free Loom audit. That is, Loom is a Chrome or browser extension that allows you to record a website as well as your face in a little circle. I'm sure you've seen YouTube videos that are just like cobbled together Loom videos, and audit the website. And by audit, that means you just go through the website and talk about all the bad things, like all the points, like things that can be improved on the website. And if you reach out to this business, you email them that Loom, and hey presto, typically they'll just hire you on the spot to do that. And you could either like have a sample or have a spec piece like ready to go for them, like, hey, I was thinking about doing your about page this way, what do you think? Or you can just do the audit. Some of our earliest videos were about website audits, and I think that we should revisit that.
Absolutely. That's super good advice as well, by the way. Really good comment. Cool. Yeah. I hopefully that was $5 worth of value.
That God, I hope. I mean, like, we've been talking for 11 minutes, so like hopefully that $5 to 11 minutes ratio is somehow balanced
out. That's more than my hourly rate.
I feel like a cheap nude dancer. Like like, hey, you deposit $5, you get 11 minutes of value.
I never would have been to a place like that, Sean.
Well, that's because you were a child. You were a poor, delicate summer flower, and I want to protect your innocence.
Or is it because I respect women?
That is a rabbit hole that we are not going to go down.
Let's not go down that route.
Whoa.
Of like even discussing. Let's do Whetstone Wednesday. That's why we're here.
Whetstone Wednesday. That's why we're here. Okay.
Oh God, it's not even been 2 hours yet. All right, go.
Yeah, well, I think you and I both had a very long day, and so we're both a little like mentally foggy and fatigued. So this is going to be a fun one.
Just quick, we've also just had Lindsay join. Definitely not the latter.
Definitely not the respecting women thing. Yeah, by the way, Lindsay, if you want, you're welcome to join in. We would love to have you. And then Paul has one other thing to add. Loom has the added benefit of letting you know if someone watched the video. That way you can get an idea of whether or not your approach is working.
Another very good point.
Yeah.
Another very good point.
Like, Paul, can we have you on as a guest for one of our like more recent videos that we've been structuring, like the fun ones where like we can do some sort of like crazy production thing where like you chop through a wall with an axe and like my face splits open on a green screen, and then Paul comes through and says, "Don't listen to this Sean guy. Like, here's what you need to do in order to do a Loom video and do cold outreach this way."
Which Paul is this? Hang on.
It's Paul.
Is this Paul?
Yeah.
This is Paul. I didn't know this was Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Paul. How's it going, man? Yeah, come on a video. Let's have you on.
Yeah.
All right, nice.
Yeah, we'll do something fun and goofy with it. We've been trying to be more fun and goofy with our videos recently because
life's too short.
Life's too short to not be the Monty Python of the copywriting world.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Okay. All
right. We'll focus. This is a cart abandonment email sequence. The emails are from lists, either from discount pop-ups or adding to the cart abandonment email. Context: Goalie is a supplement e-commerce store about natural supplements that taste good. Thank God somebody finally came up with that. This is a bundle of products. The testimonial is from their page, but I invented the name. That's fine. Pseudonyms are totally fine for testimonials. There is more copy after the image. Questions. I'm not sure what makes a cart abandonment email good. That's something I can talk about. Reset, relax, restore, bundle, Goalie. Okay. Subject line: they are safe with us for now. Preview: Rita didn't know what was coming for her. They're healthy and delicious. Your bundle is in high demand right now. Maybe something happened and you couldn't finish your shopping, but don't worry. We are holding your products with us while we can. Meanwhile, here's how Goalie improved Rita's life. Click here to secure bundle. And then, yeah, I've struggled with sleeplessness from time to time for years, and this is the first supplement that has actually helped me catch my Z's. Like Rita, with your Goalie, you can have the best sleep of your life. No more insomnia or tired wake-ups with our proprietary blend of Dreamy Sleep gummies. Reduce stress and improve your memory and concentration at the same time with America's #1 ashwagandha gummies. I'm glad somebody decided to pull in ashwagandha. Increase your immunity, make your heart health stronger, and boost your metabolism at any age with the world's first apple cider vinegar gummies. Ooh. Being healthy can be easy and fun. Our gummies are considered, according to customers, a delicious addition to my routine. Click here to secure a bundle. And this is a welcome email. So this is a completely different thing. Let's just talk about this. Alex, what do you like? What do you not like?
I think, you know what, I actually reviewed a bunch of cart abandonment emails last time I did the stream. I think I did like 3 or 4 of them. I think genuinely, I think this one hits the idea of a cart abandonment email more on the head than most people do. Now I won't touch the subject line just yet. We'll get to that in a moment. But the point is, you're acknowledging that they have something in their cart, and you're saying that you're gonna hold it, right? Like, that's a very, very common thing for cart abandonment emails, and for a good reason. Whenever, especially in e-commerce, I found, because the idea of it like going out of stock is a real concern. So that's fine. That's a fine thing to do. I think that one trick you're kind of missing out on here is you're almost blending it with the kind of product that's in their cart, like immediately saying they're healthy and delicious. A cart abandonment email, in my experience, I've done many A/B tests with cart abandonment emails. The best cart abandonment emails are super short. Are like, this is either extremely scarce, so saying like, there aren't many left. We'll hold them for 24 hours, but you need to confirm soon. Big fucking button. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Big bleeping button.
Effing button.
Big effing button. And just maybe a testimonial, maybe a single reminder, maybe a PS just to add to that urgency. Don't need to overthink it too much. This is turning back into a kind of product email, and almost takes the impact that cart abandonment emails can have away from it, by turning it back into a shopping email. If someone's added to their cart, they've already been convinced they want it. There's just a final objection, and likely it's not to do with the product, because if you don't like a product, you don't add it to your cart in the first place. It's to do with price. It's to do with, do I need this right now? That's the kind of things you need to be focusing on, and I think there's a lot of fluff around this email. Yeah. That's my big takeaway. Do you want to tackle the subject line, Sean?
You discussed, and I'll talk about angles at the end, but you discussed, I think, everything that I would want to bring up, which is very simply that a cart abandonment email, you're already speaking to somebody who is perhaps as close to most aware as they can possibly be. This person that you're writing an email to, they already know they want the product. You just need to give them a nudge. What does a nudge look like? A nudge can be a reminder of why they wanted it in the first place. Maybe they're in a different time now and they're like, okay, I'm ready to commit and make the purchase. So the angle that I find that works best for that's usually like add to cart plus 1 day, is just a summary reminder of like the sales page, the like, these are typically longer. I've tested this a lot too. And this summary of the sales letter type of cart abandonment email really works well for info products. You basically just summarize the beats of the sales letter and then give people really a lot of urgency at the end. And so what does that do? That basically reminds them like why they were interested in the product in the first place. And usually that's enough. Another thing that I do in those kinds of cart abandonment emails is also give people a phone number to call. Some people, like, their big hang up was like buying stuff online. That happens. So what I did that really massively upped my conversion rates was give people a customer service line. Let them order things from a person on the phone. That worked really well too. Some businesses can't do that, can't handle that. But like, if you have the option, give people, I talk about not having dual CTAs all the time. It works in cart abandonment emails simply because it gives people another option to buy that they didn't have before. Then the second thing that, really sort of pushes people over the edge is price. And so, that like cart abandon plus 2 days email that I would typically do is I would, it would be a simple subject line. Did you forget this? Just a simple question like that. I don't love the subject line. They are safe with us for now. And the copywriter is making the mistake of assuming that the person reading this remembers what they are, which they don't. I'm telling you, they don't. And so you have to be much more specific in your subject lines. And you can be provocative by simply saying, like, did you forget something in your cart or something along those lines? Those get high open rates. And so for this second category of, how should I say, pushing people over the edge, those types of emails tend to be more like emphasizing the discount. Really just recapitulating any price anchoring you've done, giving people a coupon or a discount code works really well in this N+2 days cart abandon email. And yeah, just like that's the objection that you're handling that. And don't mix these objections, by the way. Like, don't try to have like a summary of the sales letter and then like a discount and then a this and then a this. No, just
Yeah.
focus on one each and do a little 3 email sequence if you can. And then the third email, that's people who have put it into their cart, probably forgotten about it by now, have ignored or read and ignored your 2 previous emails. And so this needs to be a shit or get off the pot kind of email. I'm sorry, I shouldn't swear. So, what angles typically work for that? It's like scarcity driven. So the subject line would be something along the lines of like, hey, we're taking your order away from you now. Or, you know, there might be an error with your account, things like that. And those kinds of hooks and angles typically work really well because people like are sort of jostled into paying attention. And then in that email, which is very, 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 very short, you just say like, "Hey, you were interested in this thing, but you didn't pull the trigger. May I ask why? This thing is still available, but it's only going to be available for a few more minutes before we have to send it to somebody else who wanted it." And only do that if it's like a real product. If it's an info product, like, there's no scarcity there, so don't
Yeah.
lie. But for like a product like a gummy bundle, there's going to be limited quantity. And so you can definitely leverage that scarcity in order to push people into buying. And what I found with like treating those 3 emails for those 3 main objections to finally pulling the trigger, that was a big boost for all my offers.
Yeah, I'll, just kind of layer on the specificity to this. I said this in the last stream. The best subject line for the first cart abandonment email that I've ever tested, i.e., gets the highest open rates and then also leads after calculations to the most clicks, so orders, is problem with your order? Question mark. Like that, like kills. My hypothesis for why that kills is because there's a little bit of trickery, a little bit of deception in that you're implying that they did order and they tried to order and people initially they immediately kind of worry like, oh, did I pay? Like, is there a problem? Like, have I ordered this? I think that's the immediate kind of knee jerk, like, oh, I should open this and check what's going on. The reason I think that also gets high orders, even though there's a little bit of deception there, is because I think they then go into the idea of, oh, I thought I'd bought it, but now I haven't, and actually I do want it.
Yeah. That happens too. Like, people writing cart abandonment emails and writing copy and thinking about these marketing things, like, you have to think about, like, there's a nuanced psychology to all of this stuff. And sometimes people just forget stuff. People think that they bought and they didn't. People, like, will have bought something and then forget that they bought it. People will forget why they even chose not to put it into their cart in the first place.
Mm.
And so having different emails that sort of like gently and subtly tackle those different facets of what could have happened, it helps. It
And
really helps.
you know what does surprisingly well as well? One, just having a cart abandonment email sequence, like, good. Like, you're gonna get more purchases for having this, even if it's not great, compared to not having it. Something else that does really well, and I wouldn't choose this in place of, say, a discount if I could give one, because they always work better. But something that always works really well is just saying, go on, buy it. Like, literally just saying to someone, like, treat yourself, you deserve this. Like that just it works because sometimes people just need that extra nudge. Sometimes it is like Sean said, they forget, they don't know if they can justify it. I wouldn't suggest that in place of what we've said. But I'm just using that to highlight that just having any kind of sequence after that for people who almost bought, they're far more likely to buy than someone who has only just seen your ad. So you should be spending a lot more time thinking about those people.
Yeah. All right, really quick, a reminder. At the beginning of the stream, I announced to everybody that we had to rejigger the order of operations because we have a limited time and we have so many product descriptions to go over that we are going to do a separate product description stream, possibly just for patrons, but we'll see what happens later this week or early next week. But we are going to get to all of the product description copy for sure. But we are going to focus on right now a few non-product description pieces of copy, so that we don't become the only copywriting channel on the planet that focus specifically on copy that's product descriptions. And we also wanted to focus on a group of product descriptions, 5 of them that were all written about the same product, and we're just trying to clip along. So, but we will definitely get to your copy now. Do you want to go over this welcome email written by the same person, or do you want to move ahead to a Facebook funnel that went live but didn't do as well as they had hoped?
I think it's more fair to move on.
Okay.
To try and get people. But having said that, I saw it was another ecom email, which obviously I like. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll just do that off stream.
Yeah, we will. There are plenty of past streams where we've talked about welcome emails and welcome email sequences, but that I think was more content than we've ever given ever to anyone about cart abandons.
Oh, I did the last stream. I might have had us beat a bit because I must have spent about half an hour doing it, and like I brought my old one up and I just nerded out. But definitely in the last month, we've done a lot on cart abandonment sequences. I don't think we need to touch that again for a while.
So we just started a channel called Copy That Clips. And one thing that we can do is we can probably ask our editor to go through your video and go through this video and just put together a compendium of content about cart abandons.
Let's do that.
All right.
Copy that best of.
It pretty much.
Which is just every single video we've ever done played in its entirety.
Start to finish. Especially the ones where I was fucking up the audio for like the first year that we were doing this.
When it zooms in on a minimized zoom screen, and that's like a close up of someone. It's about 6 pixels. Oh, that was great. That was when I was first to guess.
Now we're here, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's good fun. Okay, all right, next one. So this didn't do as well as they hoped. That's always interesting.
Yes. Really quick, we don't know, but it will be within the next week, before the next Whetstone Wednesday. Okay. Copy that marathon. Absolutely. You know what? We will give a prize to anyone who manages to get through all of our stuff, including the stuff that we've made private or unlisted. Anyway, this is a funnel I wrote for an online Japanese language school. Didn't quite perform. I guess it's because the funnel lacked an upsell or because it lacked a proper welcome email sequence. Interesting. Info about my client, Japanese online school. English speakers who want to learn, become fluent in Japanese quickly. Nihongo desu ka? Idea for this funnel, learn Japanese quickly with our lessons. Oh, naruhodo. Rod would be embarrassed at my bad accent. Main conversion objective, get people to sign up for online Japanese lessons, going from a Facebook ad to a squeeze page to their email list. All right, let's take a look. This is the Facebook ad, and this is the full thing. Alex, do you want to read this, or should I?
I don't mind reading this.
All right.
Want to learn Japanese and get fluent quickly without getting stuck or unmotivated along the way? We've been teaching Japanese for the past 18 years and made a free booklet to help you out. Get it here. Link. Here's what's inside the booklet. 3 little-known tricks you can use to make sure you never get stuck or unmotivated while learning Japanese ever again. Page 6. 2 practice methods to help you gain unbreakable confidence in your Japanese speaking ability, even as a beginner. Want to reach Japanese fluency as fast as humanly possible? This learning method at the end of page 9 beats any expensive course, step by step guide, Genki textbook, or
Mhm.
language app you can think of. Phew. And much, much more. Get it here. Link. Bonus. When you sign up for our booklet, you also get a free Japan mini travel guide. Fun. It gives you relevant and up to date info on everything you need to know before going to Japan, such as crucial legal and safety knowledge, the 27 hidden gems you should visit when in Japan, and much more. Get the free booklet plus bonus here, link. And don't miss out because this is probably the last time you'll ever see this ad. And this free booklet and bonus could be the difference between you getting fluent quickly or wasting years trying and eventually giving up on learning Japanese entirely. So you owe it to yourself to at least have a look. Get the free booklet and bonus link. And then the creative is the picture of the book with Want to Learn Japanese Quickly. Get a free booklet and free mini travel guide.
Okay.
Japonin.com.
I already identify several things that I want to talk about with this particular piece of copy before we even go to the squeeze page. But before we do that, I want to give all 32 people watching a useful tool that they can employ that is going to help them in their career. Alex, do you mind if I take a quick
Are
detour to
we
share that tool?
are we going where I think we're going?
I don't know.
Probably not, because you've opened up Google Docs. I don't
All
know
right.
where we're going.
Insert table, and we're going to do 4x4. Now,
No idea.
short, medium, long, angle 1,
Oh,
angle 2,
old bullet table.
angle 3. When you are assigned to write Facebook ads, one of the best things that a Facebook marketer will want to do is test a bunch of different pieces of ad copy, specifically all in the same group so that they could find out what angle works the best. What is a really quick synopsis? What is a copy angle? It is the thing that you use to garner and gain attention to the ad or the thing that you're trying to get people to click to. So, for example, if a person has a problem and the problem that they have has to do with it being very hard, the angle for your copy should be this product makes X easy. That's your angle. If they want a lot of money, this product helps you make more money. That's your angle. Like the angle is specifically trying to overcome the biggest, not all, but the biggest problem or hang up that people generally have based on your customer research. Okay. So, will you post this live for rewatch? All of our live streams on our Whetstone Wednesdays in the past are still up on YouTube. We only take some of them down and put them up in a Patreon if there's like a special reason to. But all of our live streams are available on the live tab of our YouTube page. So here's what you do. You come up with an angle and then you write a really short piece of copy. I'm talking like fewer than 50 words. Sometimes one sentence will do. And you write the same ad with angle 2 and then angle 3. Boom. There you have 3 different Facebook ads that you can test. And then what you do is you do a medium length one where you take that same angle, that same idea, and you expand it out. Do the same thing for long. Now, here's a quick tip for actually making your copy longer without doing what this other ad is doing, which is going a little bit off the rails. Bullets, more bullets. Have lots of bullets that get people fascinated and interested and intrigued by the product that you're trying to sell. That's just a hack. It doesn't always have to be bullet driven. But if you're doing a book or a course, bullets go a long way and they can help you pad out to achieve the length and possibly the girth that you need for your 3 different ads. If you do it this way, you're going to be more organized, you're going to have more stuff to test, and you're going to be more likely to be successful because here's the thing about Facebook. You don't know which of these 9 ads is going to be the winner. Trust me. I've seen short win, I've seen medium win, I've seen long win. And by long, I mean like longer than a page, like over 250 words. Now, let's say. So we do have a question, but we are going to stick by our rules where we do not take tangential questions unless we get a donation. We're going to hold on to that so that we don't get distracted, because we get distracted a lot. Now, really quick, one thing I quickly notice about this is that the angle, it's very direct. Like, the first thing that I notice about this is, do people wake up in the morning wanting to get fluent at Japanese? Yeah, I'm sure there are some, but what do people really want? They either want to go to Japan and, not be embarrassed by their horrible pronunciation of sumimasen, or they are already an English speaker in Japan who want to acclimate and assimilate a little bit more, and, they're probably lonely. It's a very lonely place, Japan is. And so that's two different angles for you to test right there. Angle one, want to learn Japanese. Angle two, want to travel to Japan. Angle three, want to, fit in Japan a little bit better as an English speaker. There you go. Then you have 9 different ads that you can do with 3 different angles. Now, the other thing that's going on here is what I would call kitchen sinking. What is kitchen sinking? Kitchen sinking is where you have an ad and you're trying to talk about every benefit. You feel like I need to throw every freaking thing like at the prospect because more is better. And I'm a copywriter. Arr! That's my impression of you, person who wrote this. It's just too much. It's too much. And so, get fluent in Japan. Here's a little booklet. Here's everything you get, but also here's a bonus, and here's all the stuff. And it's too much. It's too much for an ad, because what is this ad trying to do? It's trying to get people to click and sign up. That's it. So here's the thing. Think about what we were talking about with the cart abandons before. You just need to give a little bit of teaser about what's in the booklet to encourage them to buy. Quick side note here, really fast. You probably don't want to frame the booklet as being better than a course if what this business wants to do is sell courses and education online. You are literally selling against your own product later in the funnel by framing it that way. You have to keep that in mind. Now, this bonus, you don't put this bonus in the Facebook ad. Don't do it. Test it, I guess, for the longy bits of the 3 different angles. But the bonus is there for that squeeze page to, again, tip people over the edge. Like, people have clicked, they're on the squeeze page now. If they just need another reason to sign up for your email list or for your marketing list, the actual bonus does a good job of that little travel guide. Because here's the thing. That's going to be effective for one of the 3 angles, but not all 3, because you're going to be talking to many different people. And so that booklet, leave it off the Facebook ad, keep it on the squeeze page, because that's going to be what we would call in the business a gummy bear. Just a little sweetener, a little extra something to make this feel more valuable, to encourage you to do the thing that we want you to do. Whew. Okay. And then, yeah, that's it. Those are all of my comments. Everything that I thought as you were reading this ad.
Yep. I don't have much else to add to that. I don't think I can add too much more.
So really quick, is 9 ads too expensive to test, and which ones should you test at minimum? Here's how PPC works. And Facebook, this is true too. You create a campaign. You create ad groups, and each ad group can have a different number up with many, many different ads. Now, you can either have 9 ads in 9 different ad groups in one campaign, but you adjust the budget on a per campaign basis, which means that you can test 9 ads for $4 a day. And then, we ran this for 2 weeks. We found that these 3 were the winners and these 6 were the underperformers. So cut the 6, up the budget, and focus on only the 3 winners. That's how you test.
Yeah, I I think I would also say I think you've made fantastic points about the copy, Sean. I think that something I would say is even take a step back from it. Think about the strategy of this, which is that two big things. One, targeting is hugely influential, like hugely in any advertising. Where is this going? If the lookalike audience that this is being based off of, which is a Facebook ad term, is has been taken from like a list of, I don't know, say previous language learners that you have on the database, like if it's not just Japanese, or if it's people who well, I don't know, like specialists or something, or experts beforehand, and it's going based off of those interests, then like that might be a terrible set of people to target this ad at. You might be targeting people who already know Japanese as English speakers with this ad, and they're not going to want to learn Japanese and get fluent quickly because they're like, well, I know Japanese, this isn't like helping me, talking about being a beginner and learning the basics and stuff. So that's one thing to consider. I'm There obviously points to improve on your copy, but saying that this funnel didn't work, like, it's not always just on the message, it's not always just on the creative. Often it's on who is actually seeing this. Similarly, in a sense, is this right for a Facebook ad at all? Like, Facebook ads are the thing I have done the fewest of in my career. I've done a lot of Google ads, and in my experience, this also might be biased because I'm better with Google, but things like learning Japanese, where it's an investment, don't as in an investment of time. It's not just something you kind of buy on the fly necessarily. Almost in all cases, people Googling and people searching for those kind of things are more likely to sign up. Not many people are just kind of scrolling and then see an ad and then go like, oh yeah, I want to now all of a sudden put time and investment into like learning a new language. In my experience, at least. So just asking, is the strategy of using a Facebook ad as an entry point into this funnel even the right thing? Would it be better suited to high intent searchers? Would it be better suited to list sharing with businesses who already know that people are interested in learning Japanese? These kinds of things.
Alex, that point is so important that I would like to try to summarize it and take up our time to do so, because goddamn, that's important. When you write a Facebook ad, you have to think about the person looking at Facebook ads. They are caught in the infinite scroll. They were going through a bunch of different posts and a bunch of different Instagram things. They are just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And so, what is the thing that hooks people? It's going to be something very jarring, something very shocking. It's very rarely going to be a thing that they're actively seeking. This copy, this messaging, this is geared towards somebody who's actively wanting this. Now, where do you go to put something in front of people who actively want stuff? Search engines. The people that want stuff and want to learn Japanese, they're going to be searching for it. They already actively have raised their hand and said, I have an interest in this. Google's really good for that. Facebook is not. Facebook is all about like basically making ads that sort of like feel almost like that they have been snuck in to a person's feed. Like it feels like entertainment a little bit, or whatever.
I can tell you exactly what works well on Facebook, and it's ironic coming from me because I haven't done tons of Facebook ads. Wacky, gimmicky e-com products do super well on like scrollers, right? So Facebook, Instagram, those kinds of things. TikTok, another one. Even like Snapchat ads, like, because they, exactly what Sean just said, they disrupt the scroll, and they go like, whoa, that's cool. Like, oh, that's a cool thing. Demonstration ads do incredibly well on Facebook because people are already watching videos, and then they see one of, like a cool little skull that you can like splat against a wall, and you can say, oh, you can get like a bag of 10 for like $2. Like, oh yeah, great. It's why Wish and Temu And businesses like that do so incredibly well on the likes of Facebook, and like scrolling ads where you look at cool, weird, little wacky things that you don't see anywhere else do well on Facebook. Because what is Facebook for, really? You're going there to look at stuff that new like news. You're going there to look at stuff that you're not expecting to see because you want to learn stuff. You want to consume that information. You're not going in with a direct idea of what you want to see, which is why things that are outside of that sphere do so well.
That is an excellent point. Honestly, if I were to, if somebody paid me enough, which I doubt they'd be able to rewrite this ad, the first thing that I would focus on is the creative. And the
Mm.
first thing that I would want to test is a two-panel like meme of basic or stock image of like a woman or a man to white just like at a grocery store counter or store counter, like legs crossed, like hands over privates, like, and then on the left is a speech bubble in English that says, "Where's the bathroom?" And on the right is, and like obviously this store has to be coded and very apparently Japanese. And on the right is the same image, but with Japanese characters, kanji. And below is a simple caption: on your next trip to Japan, who do you want to be?
So there you go. So anything, I mean, it's effectively future pacing as well. Like anything that and videos as well. Just like video ads do so much better on Facebook. We're getting out of copy right now, but um, just a video of what someone wants to be or what they want to see. Like again, this is gonna sound slightly crass, but I know it would do well. Like a video of like a beautiful Japanese woman like kind of there, and like a jokey thing where like it's kind of quick pans like between her and a white guy who's like trying to say something, like that kind of stuff like would probably do far better. But it may not even be targeting the right way.
Yeah, I was like, I thought of a very, very crass ad.
So we said we wouldn't go down that route at the start of the
Oh
video. We should not do
God,
it
but it would
now.
work. Like if we didn't have any integrity, like I know exactly like how I would yes and the ad that you just described.
What, trying to pick someone up in a bar? Does it revolve around that kind of thing?
Pretty much something along those lines. I don't know if I even want to talk about this. Oh, I'm not going to talk about this. That's going to get us canceled. So I'm just gonna.
That's for patrons only. Because in Patreon, we can upload videos and not restrict ourselves. All
Yeah,
right.
that's we need to do more of that. Anyway, and so this is the squeeze page copy, and like we talked about emails earlier. And so I want to quickly talk about the squeeze page because I don't think we talk about squeeze pages very much.
Mm.
So why don't you lead off the broader discussion of this since I took up so much time in the last one?
Mhm. Yeah, so I would say with the squeeze, we have to think about the idea of a squeeze page first. Well, what's the idea? The whole point of it is you're trying to get a contact information. Like that's it. Anything outside of that is not worth considering. So when I look at this, what's the first thing that I notice? It's matching the message of the Facebook ad, which if the Facebook ad was decently targeted and had a good messaging, then nothing wrong with carrying that through, because you want to show people you're getting the thing that you've been promised in the Facebook ad. So in that way, great, fine. Like you've got mock-ups there showing the thing that you're going to get. Good. Not the strongest mock-ups. You've basically just kind of put the same thing on in a book, a phone, an iPad. And quick point, if you're not getting that as a book, that's potentially tricky for Facebook regulations because you're not actually giving them something physical. So just watch out on that point. But a squeeze page, especially when the convincing, if you like, has been done on the ad, otherwise they wouldn't have selected it. Yes, I want this thing. You don't need to think too much more about it. So in fact, like what you've done here in terms of structure, I don't think is bad at all. Here's what's inside. You've put the bullets down of like, this is what you can get. As Sean mentioned when we were talking about the ad, this is where you can dangle another carrot over the edge of like, hey, you also get this. So like, fine. This is not bad in terms of structure. In terms of the copy, I would say that you've clearly been practicing bullets, or you know what makes effective bullets. It's just a case of refining that.
Mhm.
Um, and do we want to go into some bullet copy discussions, Sean?
Let's look at two bullets before we move on and give a little bit more advice, because I, there is one piece of advice that I would give to this person who wrote this, which is very simply like, I've tested a lot of squeeze pages. I've tested copy heavy. I've tested like basically a little article that has like a click, like link that takes you to a sign up form. I've tested everything. And the thing that seems to work best, especially if the previous copy has done its job, is just a headline, 3 to 5 bullets, an image of the thing you get, and a form. That's it. Like, for especially for info, like that's really all you need. Are you going to get the thing that they wanted to click to this page in the first place? And so the first thing that I notice on the squeeze page is I would just very quickly mock up something with like the headline. Again, go back to those 3 different angles that I was talking about. One, not all 3 of these images, and then pick your 3 best bullets. And then at the end of that list of bullets, have bonus free Essential Japan travel guide. That's it. All shows up on the same page, no scrolling involved.
I,
That
I have a question for you,
yeah.
Sean. Um, do you think that the mental energy that someone infers that they'll have to expend to scroll down puts people off from downloading lead magnets?
I strongly suspect that that's one of those things in marketing that we can guess at but never actually know. Unless we did like a PET scan or like some sort of CT scan of people's brains as they either did or did not scroll through an ad, which like what neuroscientist is actually
Hey,
going to do that?
mix that with a heat map, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just it's just come into my brain now, which is that I haven't done a lot of squeeze pages. You know, my job, I don't need to do a lot of squeeze pages. You know, it's
Yeah.
mainly e-commerce. It's primarily direct to product page or to kind of long sales page, product page. But something that's just crossed my mind is if I've already been promised the thing that I'm getting, and if I'm sticking to the advice you've just given, Sean, does the idea of me having to scroll down and potentially read more about this thing and like get more justification put me off of like, oh, actually, is this more or more complicated than I first thought it was?
Yeah, it's listen, I'm going to hypothesize, but I want you and everybody listening to know that I am talking out of my ass right now. This is
Mm.
pure speculation because there's no way we can actually know. I strongly suspect that what you're saying is true, that the actual act of scrolling can be, how should I say, contra some sort of angle that involves ease. I'm
Mm.
going to explain that in simple English. If you are trying to like get somebody to do something by promising them that they will be able to achieve outcomes or results quickly, easily, like push buttonly, turnkeyly, whatever turn of phrase you choose to use, the simple act of having a lot of copy or a lot of scrolling works against that. Like it's actually contrary to what you are trying to have them hold in their head in order for them to believe the thing that you are saying. And it's a very subtle, like almost psychological thing. And I'm using that in the Rory Sutherland alchemy sense, where just the act of scrolling is going to be an act of effort. Now, I want to reiterate, everything that I just said is pure speculation because we don't know what is in people's heads when they do or do not scroll. But I have seen a clear win when it involves squeeze pages, specifically squeeze pages that involve no scrolling.
I think the easier the decision that you are purporting, the harder it is for someone to make when they see that it's long copy. I think that you could sell you could sell something You could sell a copywriting course, for example, like we've been speaking of that a lot recently, gurus and stuff. You could sell a copywriting course, the whole idea of which is that this is going to make building a career in copywriting easy. But because that decision is difficult to make because you're forking over a lot of money and because it is an investment in your time, I think that you're more okay with reading more stuff. When it's something that's promised to be simple and quick to read and you haven't got to think about it very much, I think that then it becomes counter. It becomes like, well, you've said it's easy. I just wanted a little booklet that was going to make me fluent in Japanese quick. I didn't want to have to do a whole course. Another reason why high intent, knowing those users are high intent is slightly better, because would you send high intent users to a squeeze page to get their email? Like, maybe not. Maybe you'd send them straight to a course. Anyway, we're going tangential again.
So that is some thoughts, some advice, some perspectives about the squeeze page. Are there any, because I think we're going to skip this welcome email so that we can go on to this short email about Barefoot Shoe, which has more context than copy, which is interesting to me.
Thank you.
And then I want to get into the actual product page copy.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's look at this. So what have we done in this stream so far? We've looked at a cart abandon. We've talked about that. We have looked at a squeeze page, and we've talked about that. We've looked now, and also we looked at a Facebook ad and talked about that. Now we're going to look at an email, and then we're going to look at 5 different product pages. And then we are going to depart and discuss things amongst ourselves in private. And then we will do this again some other time in the next week. So, Barefoot Shoes. I'm going to zoom in. Can't forget that, Alex.
Sorry. I knew that was coming. I will say sorry for that one.
All right. So, the one reader, gender is male and female. 25 to 40, office job, about middle class of 40K to 120K. So, MABE, kids and married, UK, USA, Australia, minimal Facebook and sometimes the gram. Hold on. Just one question, which is above my question, was in relation to the Facebook and ad marketing strategy. Too many things? Is this the question that you had for us?
No, further down than that.
Oh. Is it this one?
I think so. Something this is covered in your marketing course. Oh, R1. Oh, yeah. Right.
The ultimate guide to I can't even talk. The ultimate guide to marketing strategy, linked in the description below.
Ugmas. Is a Facebook ad specifically? We mentioned Facebook ads. Certainly. Is it the kind of thing I recommend you buy if you want a Facebook ad strategy? No. Is it the kind of thing I recommend you buy if you want an idea of just good marketing strategy, no matter what you're doing? Yes. But I would not buy it thinking, oh, it's going to tell me how to do good Facebook ad strategy. We definitely talk about, though, when you should and shouldn't be thinking about something that's more high intent or that is, less connected or that's more direct. Like that's absolutely covered. It's one of the kind of core points.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah. Don't buy our stuff if you are looking for a very specific, like, for example, how to set up a Facebook ad campaign, or like how to use a particular piece of software, because we don't talk about that kind of stuff. Like, we're more higher level, or try to be. Okay. Reason they need this product: unhealthy feet. Ugh.
Wink. I don't like the wink.
I don't like that either.
It's like some kind of fetish.
Solution aware, meaning that they are aware of their problems and they are aware that other products exist for this particular problem, but they have not bought any yet. Okay. What main benefit will benefit? What's the main benefit? Okay, this is just too much context for an email. So let's just dive right in. Subject line: your back is in danger. Subject line: is your back sore? Subject line: why you have poor posture. Preview text: a few steps away from fixing your posture. Haha. Headline at the top of the email: one reason why your posture is terrible. Subhead or deck copy: your feet are the root of your body. Everything follows up. And then there's a CTA. And it just says CTA.
That's bold. My next email is just going to be CTA with a link.
Yeah.
Can I say something quick about this?
Shoot.
This is not a good email.
Yeah.
Immediately, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna rip the band-aid off. For a few reasons. Immediately, you have described the person as solution aware. We've talked about the stages of awareness and their, limited usefulness before. But if you're identifying them as solution aware, that means they know about barefoot shoes. That means they know. They're convinced that their posture is rubbish, if that's the thing that you're saying that their big problem is, that they want to correct their posture, and they know that barefoot shoes are the way to do it. You are before we even get into like the specifics of the copy, let's just talk about what we always talk about, which is a value edit. In other words, that high level conceptual reason for this copy existing. It's completely missing the mark. It's cycling back like 2 stages of awareness, if you want to think like that, basically, to a point where you're telling someone their back might be in danger, when if they already know they have back pain or posture problems, they don't need to be told that. They need to be empathized with and shown there's a solution. But you're saying they're not there. You're saying they already know about barefoot shoes. So why are you wasting copy not even telling them that this is about something they already care about, which are barefoot shoes?
Yeah.
Straight off the bat.
So, I mean, Alex, I think you know that I've been working very loosely, I'm saying this, on a whole free masterclass on the stages of awareness, because I don't think there's a single concept in copywriting that I've seen misunderstood more than the stages of awareness.
Yeah. I know we have a differing opinion on the stages of awareness, on their usefulness for beginners, but please continue. Please elaborate.
For beginners, and I mean like true beginners, I think it's just generally more useful to think about 2 things, which is like, what have people probably seen before in terms of ads, and also like how aware or unaware they are in terms of possible solutions to their problems. Rather than breaking it up into 5 categories, just breaking it up into like a continuum between 2, more aware, less aware. And so, by doing that, like the framework that I'm thinking about is very simply just being like, hey, would you speak to somebody the same way if they were aware of barefoot shoes or not? It becomes very binary, very simple. And I think binaries are easier to navigate for most people. And that way, when they're ready, like, well, surely there are other subdivisions, like other things to consider here. Well, then they can gravitate to the next level, which would be the 5 stages of awareness. And so I'm pro stages of awareness, but I think for like a true beginner, the central concept that they need to understand is like, are the people that you're speaking to aware of the thing that you're speaking about or not? And that's it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I think I see that. I definitely agree with your point about them being maybe not the most misunderstood, but very, very misunderstood. Like to the point of people worry about it so much, it freezes them in place and doesn't make them want to write anymore. Like you realize as you move on in your career that they're not incredibly important. I still love explaining it in a structured way to beginners, because for me, in my experience, 5 years ago, when I first heard about the stages of awareness, like that was a light bulb moment for me. I was like, oh my God, like this makes advertising so much clearer. But that's because I think it was explained to me in a very clear, succinct way. And with the context of, look, this isn't the be all and end all. And I think that's something we maybe need to do a better job of, is telling people, look, don't get caught up on it.
I think for our tent pole, like cornerstone masterclasses that we're working on, like when we start talking about research, and like we'll include the stages of awareness in there and like understanding that, or maybe we'll do that in the writing cornerstone piece. Maybe we should focus on like this is a concept that's important, but here's an oversimplified version of it for you to just understand and get a sense of like how you should be speaking to different people, and then have a separate free masterclass. So just to give you a sense of like, the skit that I have at the beginning of this involves me talking to your Rod's and Lindsay's severed heads on a green screen. As I point to like and describe like a person with this problem is going to be aware of this, and like have you say something really absurd and random and kind of go through and basically run with the whole severed heads being in different stages of awareness bit.
Okay. Your skit writing really peaked at the last one that you shared with us, which has not been released yet. It's now rapidly deteriorating.
Well, that idea I had back in July when Rod was here, and we actually filmed his head's parts. I was thinking like, oh, how fun would that be to like do this skit and then have a series of YouTube shorts where Rod's head like goes on different adventures in front of a green screen. And so I got him on camera in front of the green screen, just sharing different insights about brand copywriting. And it's the adventures of Rod's severed head.
Cool. I mean, we can do it. It's our channel. We'll do what we want.
Yeah.
And as we say so often, we're not marketing this in the best way possible. No, don't probably. look to copy that for what we tell you to do, not what we do.
Like, what we say, not as we do.
Exactly.
Oh my God. I never thought that I would be a father who said that. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah. We proceed with this particular email.
It's hard, isn't it? It's always difficult because we get to the point of, I won't be too mean. It's like we get to the point of it's not helpful to critique the copy itself because the idea doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because again, like let's just highlight another bit. So from did to deformed, like, did you know that bad foot formation is often linked with poor posture? Yep, that is right. Your feet could be the reason your spine is compressed and deformed. This person is then not solution aware. And you don't know who you're talking to. And this is trying to introduce someone from does your back hurt to buy these shoes and it'll be better within the space of about like 2 sentences. It's like that's not enough time for someone to even like investigate further in that. There's no support, unless they've come from an article where they've been reading about it. There's not enough information. There's not enough supporting material here to show like, oh yeah, this could be the thing that, is good for me.
I think one of the most important, I think this is more important than the stages of awareness. I think one of the most important concepts about the actual writing of copy from breakthrough advertising is gradualization.
Oh,
like
totally.
This notion of like, if you are trying to build up hype, enthusiasm, intrigue, fascination, any emotion in your copy, you can't just destroy it in the next line. You have to build things up gradually. You have to learn how to delay. Like, think about Shakespeare's Hamlet. Why did he come so close to killing his uncle like so many times and then like stop? Because if he finally killed his uncle, then the play would be over. You have to gradualize, guys. It's true in copy. It's true in absolutely anything. Like, I see so many, especially brand copywriters, like complain about like the length of ads, but like for real, that's how tension is built in ads, in stories, in nonfiction, in movies, anything. You have to establish some space in order for the emotion you're trying to build up to actually take hold. If you just say problem, well, did you know this thing? Well, that's right. This thing. That's nothing. That's something Chat GPT would write,
Yeah, and the second, the second element to that as well is starting with what they already know or what they already believe, and then logically we talk about emotion a lot, as we should, but we don't talk about logic enough. And by us, I mean copywriters generally. Is like people make decisions based on emotion, yes. But the longer a decision takes to be made, like the more logical support they need for it, which is why proof is so important. And when you start with a belief that someone has, I don't know, let's say like, don't you think aren't house prices too high right now? Like if I'm a first time buyer looking to buy a house, yeah, I do think house price is too high. I agree. You've immediately agreed with them. Let's say you want to get them to buy a course. You can't then just say, "Hey, we'll buy our course and like we'll help you find a house," or like I don't know what I don't know what course is being sold to help someone buy a house, but we'll roll with it. You can't just jump from that to that. You can say, "Well, the reason they're high, have you noticed how many are up for rent?" Like, "Oh yeah, I have noticed that because like every other place is an Airbnb." Well, that's because of this reason. And then you move from thing to thing to thing, which eventually leads to you need to know this information that we have to get around this problem. Like you need to take them through the paces and show them logically how this thing they already know actually links to the solution that you have.
And
Um,
like I think some of the best copy that just puts that on display is financial copy, like long form financial copy, because all financial copy starts very emotionally, very all about the aspirations that people have, and then slowly moves into a slow striptease of the mechanism as it ties to proof. And so further and further you go, the more logical copy tends to be, because it's actually now revealing the secret sauce behind the cool results that you saw at the beginning. And so we've gone from like very emotional, like, hey, now we have somebody hooked, and then you have a real logical reason. And then, the only thing missing there is how to actually take action. And that's when you drop the offer. So financial copy, even if you don't want to be a financial copywriter, long form financial copy is worth studying for that, because I don't think
100%.
there's a better example of gradualization anywhere in the world. Um,
Okay.
Possibly the yoga burn ad. That one's pretty good too. Never mind. Does a client usually give what stage of awareness is? No, that's going to be a copywriting shibboleth. And one of the things that we have talked about in previous streams and in our newsletter that you can get if you go to copythatshow.com and put in your email address and name. We have paused the newsletter, but in past issues, so they're now up on Patreon, we've talked about how like your clients don't know copywriting terms.
Hmm.
Almost all of your clients do not understand marketing terms. If you ask your client what the stage of awareness is, they are going to look at you like you have 9 heads and are made of dragon scales. They don't know.
So cool.
So that's it's Cosa Nostra, it's our thing. We keep it in the family.
And yeah, and a big regret I have of my 5 hour video actually is how I explain researching. Not I think most of the research is it's super solid. The one thing I wish I'd been clearer about is how I explain like how you get that initial bit of information, because I think I didn't take enough time to kind of explain like how you find out what a stage of awareness is and like how you interpret the audience you should be writing to, because so many people have asked me since that video like should the client know all of this, or like do I like is there a formula I should do to find all this stuff out. And I realize now like I was almost being naive when I made that, and in kind of thinking that people would just get it, which is one of the reasons we have some fun stuff coming up to rectify it. But I think if I was to redo that, something I would take greater care in is saying like, look, guys, ultimately the onus is on you to analyze and infer the information that your client or the product just has there. You can ask your client questions about why did you start this business and who tends to be the kind of people that buy your product, but it's up to you to then make that make sense. There is not a like perfect way that you can discern like what the right stage of awareness is. You often just have to use context clues around who tends to be buying the product, where has it been advertised so far, and so often products are not sold to just one kind of person and one kind of reader. And like, I don't think I made it clear enough that one reader doesn't just apply to like an ideal client, I should say. It doesn't just apply to a whole business necessarily. You could be selling different things to different people, the same thing to different people at different times in their journeys. I'm going off on a tangent here because it's something we're going to explain a lot better in our kind of brand new, long, very exciting
We're
videos
working on a
coming out.
12-hour course, guys.
We're working on a 12-hour course for free.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. Um,
It'll be
but
broken up into 4 different segments about different aspects of copywriting and marketing and outreach and getting jobs and stuff like that. But we're working on 4 separate, one total full 12-hour course.
yeah, and with that in mind, you know what? Because we've just said we're going to do something for free. With that in mind, if you guys wouldn't mind supporting the channel at patreon.com/slash the copy that show, if you
Yeah,
got $20 a month,
yeah.
you know,
We've definitely paused a little bit on releasing stuff for Patreon so that we can focus on this stuff. But yeah, we're trying to give like a really, really robust, like, because even with the 5-hour course, there's a lot of stuff that like we want to go into deeper detail. We want to give different perspectives. We want to like give people tools that they can use for like different kinds of situations and contexts and stuff like that. The whole thing is to give people the basics so that people are willing to pay us for the more advanced stuff. So yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I've also just looked at our Patreon, and we're so close to another milestone. Like I'm sure you saw.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
we're like a few patrons away from something that we've been trying to do for a year. So
yeah, so join if you have it in your heart and you have clients in your portfolio and money in your bank. Not if you're a newbie, you go and watch free stuff. All right.
there you go. I think one last thing that I wanted to say about research and the stages of awareness and stuff like that is, when you're researching for a client, and this is going to be helpful to you, like every single person listening to this, the first thing that you want to think about when it comes to the level of research that you put in is how much are you getting paid for the thing. Like that's your first filter. If you're getting paid $10 to write, a product description, you don't want to spend 6 hours doing in-depth research, surveying people, like et cetera, et cetera. If you're being paid a few $1,000s, well, then you kick the research gear up a few notches. Now, in terms of priority, there's, if we had to sequence things, probably about 10 to 12 steps that are involved in like really robust research. I hate systematizing stuff, but like the first thing that you want to do is find out who the hell you're talking to. Like who's on the list? Like where is this piece of copy going to go and who's going to be seeing it? And then a deeper understanding from there, this one reader is, well, in any sort of list, there are always going to be subdivisions. And you want to find out like who's the best buyer. Like if you have a list of service professionals, lawyers, accountants, doctors, dentists, stuff like that, and you find out that your product is being bought mostly by the dentists, well, guess what? Whom should you be speaking to? One of 2 people, either the dentists that are willing to pull out their wallet, or you want to pull out and make a campaign specifically for one of those other groups and speak directly to them and see if you can, squeeze some blood from that stone. The second thing that you want to do after you ask who is find out what their emotional levers are. Like, what is the thing that makes them buy? And I'll give a very simple example of what an emotional lever is. And I'm stealing this from Dan Kennedy. He was trying to sell a hearing aid. And this company had a commercial on like CNN or something like that. And the commercial was like an old person walking through a forest and they were finally able to hear the birds. And guess what? Hearing aids are expensive and nobody is going to spend $8,000 to listen to the birds. And so he did research about what people with hearing loss are actually afraid of. Well, guess what? Old people with hearing loss, they're afraid of being put into a freaking home. Like one of the first things that people look for when they are taking care of an elderly parent or grandparent is, are they no longer responsive? Are they no longer able to engage in conversations? Do they say silly stuff unrelated that might be indicative of dementia? Well, guess what? A lot of those problems are just caused by the fact that old people can't hear as well. And here's another fact about old people with hearing loss. Parents of children, these people's grandchildren, they're less likely to trust their parents to watch their grandkids alone if they can't hear as well. What if the kid's in trouble? And so your emotional levers now are not, hey, buy this hearing aid because you'll get to hear the birds. Your emotional levers are like, hey, do you want to be able to spend time with your grandkids again? Hey, do you want to avoid getting put away into a home? That's an emotional fucking lever. God damn. So, emotional
Heavy.
levers. The third thing, and you can actually probably get away with not even doing this. That's the point when you actually look at the product and you ask yourself, what are the features and benefits of this? Sometimes you don't even need it for the copy. But you know what? Chances are the client probably wants to give those to you.
It's easier. It's easier for them to give those to you.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd say thank you guys. Also, I just want to make it clear because we're going to talk about this after the stream anyway. These are going to be scripted and well produced, not our normal live stream standard where we ramble, and not the 5-hour standard where I had no idea anyone outside of like 200 people would ever see it. This hopefully going to be very well produced, so I hope you guys look forward to that. And then also Ra1 said, because of the 5-hour copyright video, I bought your CCA course. Thank you so much. It means a hell of a lot. And also I'm happy to say that you will be getting more stuff for free in that because you've already bought it. So we're right now kind of going through that, adding, revamping, upgrading that. And if you've already bought it, you're not going to have an extra penny to pay. So thank you, Ra1, for trusting us. We appreciate it.
All right. So I think we've gone off on enough of a tangent. Do you think we have enough time to go through 5 different product descriptions, or do you think we should just call the stream and then have a separate product description only stream at some point in the next week?
I do think we should have. I will make myself available at some point next week to have that stream.
All right.
So
So
let's do that.
That's going to be a special treat that maybe 12 people will be interested in. But yeah, I feel like we gave some good lessons today. Like, man, like seriously, we could probably make a whole mini masterclass around like just what we were talking about with the cart abandons, just what we were talking about with like the Facebook ads and like the intent.
Probably. We were talking about this earlier. And again, we always like to end these streams with a bit of a behind the scenes look at the business and how we operate as people. And we were talking about this earlier today when, what was I doing at that time? I was organizing an event that time, which I hate. I hate organizing events so much. Anyway, we were talking about this earlier in the day where we were talking about how if, like, imagine if this was our full-time job. Like, imagine we had time to make this stuff. When I look at other gurus and copywriting YouTubers and the sheer volume of videos they put out that are super well produced, super well scripted, like I'm just like, these people are clearly doing this full time. Like, how the hell do you how do you even start to have time to do that? Unless you're outsourcing everything. But if you're outsourcing everything, then it's not your knowledge, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, listen, like, you know, I'm biased. I'm a fan of our stuff. But I will acknowledge that scaling on YouTube is so very much, it's a volume and quality game. And one thing that I've learned over the past few years of doing this is that your stuff you either have to be dropping a video every 2 or 3 days, or you have to be dropping a video that's of such high quality that people searching for it will stick with it, and then it, you know, sort of the algorithm sort of picks it up, like your 5-hour video, for example. And the reason why the algorithm picks that up and puts it high is because people go to it. It seems authentic and good. They watch all of it, and YouTube is going to rank that fairly high and then broadcast it to more people. The only other way to scale on YouTube is drop a video every 2 days about basically the same thing.
Because how to make 10K as a copywriter.
I mean, I wasn't going to list, enumerate. that
That could be anyone.
that could be
Um,
literally
it's
anybody.
about 15 gurus. But yeah,
Yeah, we don't need to list them. Like I will say this, like I don't have a problem with like copywriting gurus who like this stuff takes off and then they devote all their time to it. Like Alex Catoni, like you know what? You go girl. Like she's a badass. Like she puts out good stuff, she delivers good information, she's clearly like reinvested and she clearly is talking about stuff that she has experience about. You know, doing it for a while. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I, you know what? I think this. My hatred, my disgust, my contempt for so many copywriting YouTubers, I think is raw because I was 4 years ago. I was the kind of person that was being targeted by that.
Yeah.
Like before I was a successful copywriter, back when I was doing content and I kind of heard about copywriting, like I got so many of those, and I got sucked into a couple, and I was like, I was never swayed by it, obviously, because like I was slightly more discerning. I think I was old enough to be like, this seems a bit hypey, and these don't seem like nice people. But it really frustrates me. We talk about this. We've spoken about this quite a lot, so I don't want to keep going over it. But
we do have we just came out with a video kind of about this. We have another video coming out about various copy sins that we see out there pretty wildly. That has the most intense opening skit of any that I've ever thought of.
Very intense. I remember that was the one. Yeah, Sean sent that as a script to us, and I was like, Sean, this is like the best thing you've ever done.
I appreciate that. I'm very proud of that. So I think I need to give up this financial copywriting thing and just become a YouTube script writer.
Just a comedy writer. Yes, please do. I just say, Ron1, thank you. Saw my emails. Appreciate that even more. I need to go through all those responses. But that's something else we'll be doing. That will be an actual bit of copy that we bring out and is out there in the world. But yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, a lot of, one of the things that we've had to do just as a business, like giving you a behind the scenes, is like one of the reasons why we're paying people to like write product descriptions for us is 'cause we don't have time. We've asked people to go into our streams, and we'll pay anybody to like go and clip stuff from our streams, because one of the things that we want to do is actually like release some of these videos as shorts, but we don't have time to like go through and like rewatch our stuff and identify like what's valuable and what's not. And so we're trying to crowdsource as much as humanly possible. Hopefully people appreciate that. Hopefully it helps people. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of Breezy's comment as well. I like that you guys actually write still. The guru versus guru thing gets old. Yeah. This is, I mean, just kind of to add on to Sean's point. Like, so today, for example, I've sent out not separate, of course, but we sent out communications, if you like, to 400,000 people. All stuff that I'd written. So that was B2B emails, that was B2C emails, push notifications, and something called Intercom, which is a like B2B SaaS platform messaging system. And that's what we do. That's what we do. We write every day for our jobs and for our businesses. And I do e-commerce strategy every day, and I write sales pages for different businesses. Like I kind of wish I had time to just film and be an idiot. Because
I mean, this is going to be a fun retirement job for me.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like once my copy stops working, once I like haven't had anything that's been a hit in a while, I'm just going to teach all the old stuff that I have and be like, yeah, do it this way, knowing that like it doesn't work anymore.
Oh, I'm gonna be, yeah. I mean, like, I actually do quite like him. This is not a dig at him whatsoever. But I want to be like Ezra Firestone, if you know him, like in the ecom world.
I'm not
like,
aware.
actually, I actually like his stuff. There's actually really good information in there. But I'm like, I would love to, and I know his agency still works with actual brands, but I would love to just reflect on the stuff I've done for ecom stores, and one thing I have in mind, Sean, and this is going to be a big job, and it's one I might even outsource. But like, I want to kind of, well, I need to do the initial bit. I want to get a compendium together of like all the A/B results that I've ever run on like via Google Analytics and like Monster Insights for e-commerce stores, um, and have it in a book and be like, this is the stuff that was I noticed. This is probably why it worked and why it didn't. This is how it changed over time. I would love to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we run copy that public publishing, so we can definitely put out a book like that.
Yeah, we do.
E-commerce winners or something like that.
I have an idea for an e-commerce sphere. My e-com strategy. That's like we spoke about this like maybe 2 years ago at this point. I still want to do it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we have so many ideas and such a lack of time to work on all this stuff. I was thinking like even today, I've been taking notes on a course that I want to make, which is just how to write a long form sales letter. And I want to have like different modules like, about webinars and like structuring how to write and structure webinars, everything I've learned about that, everything I've learned about sales letters, everything about like the different facets of long form, like even why you would want to write one. And like thinking strategically, like there are so few people that would benefit from that would actually justify a higher price point because like for real, newbies shouldn't be learning sales letters at all. Like you can, that's fine, but like how many people are going to hire you to write a sales letter? Not too many.
Yeah. I mean, I went to an, as you know, Sean, I went to an event last week.
Fix Fest with Glenn and
Nick.
The N.
The N. Nick O'Connor and Glenn Fisher, our friends over a channel called The Fix. I would recommend you go and subscribe to them. Very cool guys, super nice, really good information. Very much the Agora world. So they both work at Agora UK. So I was at their event. They ran a physical event in London last week. So I went, met up with them and the people who were there. It was just great, like being with copywriters, but really highlighted just how few people actually do sales letters and stuff. Like there were probably about 200 people at the event.
Yeah.
And there were maybe, I don't know, the Agora France team were there as well. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll butcher it. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if she's saying that publicly, so I won't say that. But but yeah, I met all those guys. But there were maybe 25, 30 people who do like financial copywriting in the room out of like 200 at an event that's run by financial copywriters. And it's like, God, not many people do this. Like not many people write sales letters.
Basically met 10% of the entire global population of people who do that. Because here's the thing, like I know those kinds of events. I know Glenn. I've worked with Glenn. Yeah. Like that event was mainly an Agora style event. And like it was geared towards people who are either operating direct response, like in the orbit of Agora, or for people who want to be getting into that world. And it's the smallest possible pond. It's the most competitive.
It was interesting because they're doing The Fix, like they're actually, I guess, kind of similar to us. Like we're very different. We're very different in our approach. But they're trying to, I think, almost move away from like just the traditional direct response stuff in the people they attract. Like half the talks were nothing to do with direct response. It was branding. There was one from a guy who I actually hadn't heard of called Steve Harrison, who is actually quite big, and he's got a book that's out and stuff. He had a fantastic talk on an ad man called Howard Gossage, which was phenomenal, like really, really great. But the majority of talks, they weren't about direct, or half the talks at least weren't about direct response. They were about like branding and brand voice. One was about poetry and how what copy can take from poetry, which is actually really interesting.
A lot.
It's super. She was really, really great talker as well. I can't remember the name off of my top of my head. Natalie, I think maybe Natalie Brooks. I might have got that wrong. But yeah, really good event. Met Mark Ford and Bill Bonner again. Mark Ford had he was like the keynote speaker. I'll show it off because I'm in a chat room of people who probably appreciate it. But he he signed my book. He signed a copy of Ready Fire Aim for me. So thank you, Mark, Mr. Ford. And just going out and drinking with copywriters was the most fun I've had in ages.
Honest
So
to God,
fun.
like you, all few people of you that are still listening, and those of you who have not fallen asleep at this point, like I can't express how fun it is to actually be present with like other people in the Cosa Nostra,
Oh yeah,
like other people who know this.
yeah.
Like you don't realize how lonely this business gets until you're finally in a room or in a bar with other copywriters and you can just, for the first time in possibly years, speak to somebody who actually understands what the fuck you are talking about. It is wonderful.
So good. I add into that, it was a 7 pint night. It was like there was a lot of alcohol and a lot of Americans as well, which is so fun. The head copywriter, the copy chief over at Stansbury was there.
Oh, Kelly.
Kelly, yeah, yeah, absolutely lovely. Spoke with her. I think I was probably hanging out with her for maybe an hour and a half or so. And God, just being able to talk to someone about like, uh, just using the term promo and knowing what it is and not just knowing what it is, but it's just part of the vernacular. Like, don't even bat an eye. Super nice.
Earlier I was mentioning like, don't use marketing language with prospects or clients or stuff like that. Like just like, but it's so, the only thing I can really compare it to is like, not that I have any particular experience with this, is like being gay in a conservative state and then going to the one gay bar in the entire state. Like you're finally in a place where you're just like, I can just be me. And that's amazing. So
personal experience.
Not that I have any experience with that.
When you started saying that, I thought you were gonna go down the route of it's like being from a country and visiting another country and hearing someone talking your language and be like, oh wow, you took it down a completely different route.
Yeah, just right up the wrong alley.
A back alley. Yeah. we both go in there.
Picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
Or putting in. I don't. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know anything.
He's a dodgy. Do you have the term? He's a dodgy butcher in America.
Never heard of that.
All right, he's a dodgy butcher. He has his meat delivered around the back.
Yeah. Let's do something fun really quick to end this because I want to have a conversation with you, and I know you have stuff that you need to do. Let's quickly list all of our favorite like copywriting influencers and channels.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of The Fix, huge fan of Jacob McMillan, huge fan of Kyle Milligan, huge fan of Alex Catoni. I love Tarzan K. She's great. Love Rich Sheffrin. Steal Our Winners is amazing. Mm-hmm. Like amazingly good. Todd Brown's good. Daniel Throssel's really good. I'm seeing him in Nashville in like a week. So that's cool. I think we're going to do one of these streams. I rented a conference room in Nashville. And so he and I are going to actually do this together. So that's going to be fun. Chris Orzakowski. He's really good for emails. Really, really smart for emails. I'm trying to think of who else. You start listing people and I'll jump in.
Excitedly. Yeah, I mean, a big one that everyone knows right now is Alex Hormozy. I was extremely late to Alex Hormozy.
I wouldn't even lump him into like the people that I'm talking about. I'm talking specifically about like copy and marketing like people, but I think like he talks about copy and marketing too. And Alex Hormozy's a fucking genius.
He's awesome.
He's really good.
I didn't know everyone. I'd always seen people mention him. I was pretty lazy in that I just didn't really. I don't know. That was one. It just didn't pique my curiosity for some reason, and it wasn't until the big live stream he just did where I watched it and I watched his videos and I was like, this guy's actually quite cool. Anyway, He's one. Ezra Firestone, who I mentioned, who does e-commerce specifically, e-commerce marketing. A guy called Chris Diamond does e-com emails, particularly quite like his stuff. I don't know. I don't know how big he is, but like he tends to give like quite good practical tips and advice. The Fix we've spoken about, Carl Milligan, obviously just big fan historically of him. Um,
Friend of the show,
I,
friend of
I
personally and friend of the show.
yeah, I would repeat everything that you've said. Like just because I'm not saying the ones Sean's listed, don't think that's because I don't like them. I'll try and be a bit more original with it. Um, who else do I really like? I don't like. I feel like I don't follow as many copywriting gurus as I used to. It's hard because most of them I don't like, which is
Yeah.
probably a problem.
Oh, big same.
I mean, if we're kind of expanding out, not just to YouTubers, but we're just expanding out to people. Rory Sutherland, just following him on anything is just enlightening.
Everybody should read Alchemy. Like, I'm
Yeah.
convinced that that's one of those, like, if you want to get into copy and marketing, like deeper, like, yeah, you can run your own email agency, and yeah, you could probably do that without ever reading a fucking book. But if you want to go deeper than that and actually understand like how a business makes tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, read Alchemy.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Joanna Weeb, someone just said, yeah, like I'll always show Joanna Weeb. Like I don't know how much she does now. I don't follow her like religiously, but when I kind of not when I started, but kind of when I was kind of a bit through my copywriting journey, like a lot of copy hacker stuff was really helpful. So yeah, I like them. I kind of want to go on my Twitter and see who the hell I follow, or maybe my YouTube. But I don't spend a lot of time watching. Um, oh, you know who's good actually, who's really good.
Hmm.
And we were talking about Facebook ads. Guy called Ben Heath.
Ben Heath. Okay.
Ben Heath. I really like his videos. He's in the Facebook line specifically. I don't think he makes other videos. I don't watch him that much. Again, now because I don't have time, but like um he has a way of we should probably learn from him and his like how he structures videos and stuff because he's really good at it. He's very authentic, super helpful and useful content. But Facebook ads specifically, he might do other stuff.
Yeah.
Who else?
I will say that I feel like for our videos, all of which have been doing better than average for the past several months, I feel like we've stumbled across possibly a new formula. Like it's one of those things where it's like you iterate, you come up with like a new idea, and then you like see how far that can get you.
Yeah.
I'm in the like, this skit plus intro plus 4 insights or facets to a thing plus outro is I think it's working for us, and I want to explore.
I agree. I think that like we know that it's not the most optimized. Like Sean Vossler. Love
Oh,
Sean.
Sean Vossler. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really good. He's gone very deep into the AI thing. And
He has. Yeah.
it's one of those things where like I have a video coming out with Jacob McMillan on this channel like 2 weeks from this week. And he convinced me that are more use cases for AI than I gave it credit for, even though I already knew that there were a lot. And he made a lot of very good points, and he gave a lot of very specific advice for people on how to use AI and ChatGPT to write copy better or faster. And so I'm coming around to it. I've never said AI equals bad. I've always said like AI is bad for the things that copywriters get paid a lot of money for.
Mhm.
Slight nuance there. And so like, but with Sean Vosler stuff, like he's very much, Jasper AI all the way. And I like, I don't know, his earlier stuff was more compelling to me.
I no I agree in a sense. I'm just not. I just haven't been taken by the AI wave. Um,
Yeah.
Interestingly, something Mark Ford spoke a lot about, which we'll talk about off air because it's really interesting, and I don't want to relay everything that was said in the conference for everyone because it was paid and it was from our friends. But sorry. By the way, yeah, Chase Diamond, not Chris Diamond, Chase Diamond.
Chase
I
Diamond.
screwed that up. Chase Diamond for emails for ecom emails. Also, I should have mentioned this earlier with the fix stuff. They I need to email Glenn
Mhm.
because we basically just agreed to a collab. there, like immediately when we met, but then also 4 pints later when we were practically in each other's arms, just going like, "Oh, stuff's brilliant, man! Like, oh, you're great. See, well, we've got to do something. So we'll do some kind of collab with the Fix as well because those guys are great.
Yeah,
Um,
I would love to. I
I'm
listen. I don't even know if Glenn remembers me, but he and I have worked directly together.
Oh, he does. He does. I
Oh, okay.
spoke. Yeah, no, I spoke. I mentioned Sean. They know Copy That. They know the channel.
Oh, good.
Um, and is there anyone else? Like, there's 100% people that I am forgetting
Oh yeah,
who
like
I love.
I was thinking about AWAI. I'm really good friends with everybody over there, but it's one of those things where I have a hard time now really recommending them because it feels like a lot of their stuff is geared towards stuff that's like a frame of copy that's a little out of date. And so it's hard for me to recommend newbies go over to AWAI, even though like I know they put out good products, even though like I know they put out good products before. But a lot of their business is built around like that direct response, like give you enough, but still leave you wanting more so that you buy more back end products. And it's like, I think the copywriting world has become more commodified. And I don't think that business structure really works anymore in a way that feels, I don't know, good. So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'll know it better than me. I never got into AWAI. Like, they were one of the ones that I think I heard about when I was kind of too far into my career to like think, oh, I need to learn this whole big course. But yeah, I've heard good things. I've heard like not great things. So it's never just one size fits all, is it? I'm just looking now. Like, there's definitely people I've forgotten. There'll be one that jumps out at me later, and I'll be like, oh, I should have mentioned them. But yeah, yeah the majority, I think, when you type in like copywriting and stuff, are not people that I particularly, speaking as someone who was in that space when I was trying to learn copywriting, are people who, on reflection, I know are just trying to get money. Or at least that's the driving factor. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yep. I
Let's not
I
go into
didn't
that.
mention Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson's pretty good.
Russell Brunson's super interesting. Russell Brunson, I think, is like, he has a clear agenda in what he wants to sell. He wants to get people in ClickFunnels and to buy courses and stuff.
Yeah.
Fine, no problem with that. Like, no problem with people wanting to sell courses when the information they give is good, and they're trying to target people who already have some business sense, which I think is actually what ClickFunnels try to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think the affiliates of ClickFunnels, however, I think need looking at. But ClickFunnels generally as a business, I think they try and target people who are business owners already. And his stuff like is so eye opening if you're a beginner. Through no fault of his own, though, I think his stuff gets bastardized quite a bit and like put in completely wrong contexts, which I talk about. We mentioned the marketing strategy course earlier.
You don't need a funnel for a toothbrush. You cock
Exactly. You cock ass. Oh, wow.
You don't need an ascension model for.
You don't need a value ladder. You don't need a value ladder for shower caps. I think that's like one of the phrases I use in the marketing strategy course. Because and someone who bought the course, they emailed me and they said this was so incredibly eye opening because like I've suddenly realized that I don't need to follow this like funnel mentality for everything. And that, I think, is a problem with ClickFunnels or with Russell Brunson stuff, is that it really shoves you into that way of thinking.
I will say something that is both nice and also a backhanded compliment. I think Russell Brunson has really encapsulated well a marketing and sales strategy that works really, really well, which is to oversimplify and narrow down a market's need to a single thing. One of the things that we do, perhaps poorly, is really try to emphasize that like people need a bunch of stuff. That like this, if we actually wanted money from this business, we would say, oh, like the simplest way to become a 6-figure copywriter is the squiddly spooch method. If you don't have the squiddly spooch method, man, you just don't have a chance. You just need the one thing, the one idea. Here's all the proof. And then show a bunch of testimonials of 15-year-olds that managed to do it. And I like, you know, like you got into copy that in this business because you were once in the shoes of everybody who's watching right now, and you didn't like what you saw and didn't like how you were being spoken to and
Yep.
didn't want to be the person perpetuating that, even for a lot of money. I was kind of in a similar boat where, like, I've had a career in copy marketing for 10 fucking years. I've been writing for money for over 20 years. Like, I know the game. And
Mhm.
so when I got into this, I was just like, well, one of the clear opportunities that I see in this kind of business is actually not in selling courses, but treating this as a recruiting funnel. Like, through Copy That, I've hired a lot of writers, like a lot of writers. I actually have 2 writers who watch Copy That. I just paid them $10,000 to write for me. You know, there you go. You just hit your 10-figure month. And like, I did it because I scouted, I spotted, I noticed some talent, and I paid them. And
So,
so, yeah,
yeah, I've hired through Copy That.
yeah,
Someone who works in house with me now, like, came through Copy That. You know, like it. Yeah. To your point, I was 17, like when I started content writing. Um, that was 6 years ago now. Like when I very first started kind of doing anything. I wouldn't call that copywriting, but like, I was doing that, and then I was 18 when I kind of heard about copywriting and stuff, and that was like near when the copywriting collective started and that kind of stuff. And I was being bombarded by those ads. I won't name names because I think we've spoken about this. We always want to be a very positive place. We never want to sling shit at people because it's not fair and we don't know them.
yeah.
Back
Lindsay says it, I think, the best, which is you don't need to put somebody else down to lift yourself up. But there's gross shit out there that I think is worth
yeah,
talking about, and it's done by so many people that it's like, they get to stay anonymous. So
and that's the thing. I'm talking now, not as copy that, not as a business owner. I'm talking as an ex beginner. When I was 18 and I was being thrown these ads and these kind of copy bros hyping up like 10K months and like 6-figure lifestyle, and just every video is a direct promise about like how to earn this, and X months and millionaire copywriters and like all this kind of stuff, like 6-figure marketers. Like that's not new. Like that is not new. Like
yeah,
people doing it now, like new channels, gurus, Instagram people, like whatever. Like that is not new. This was happening 6 years ago when I
yep.
started, and
It
it
was
will
happening
continue to happen
40
forever.
years ago
It was happening
when
40
I
years
was
ago.
still alive and writing.
Yeah. It will happen forever. And some of these people will get snatched up by, like advertising authorities who go like, you are promising bullshit, which is also why, by the way, guys, some of these channels collapse because that's what happens.
Yeah,
But all I remember is feeling like people were trying to scam me, and looking at other people my age and younger than me, bearing in mind most copywriting YouTubers viewing like audiences are, I would say, probably 15, like average age.
au contraire, I have been looking at the data, and we
Not
have a
ours.
nice little histogram. And like our average age viewer is between like 25 and 35.
That's for us. That's because we are not copy bros and we don't try and hype that life up. Hopefully, anyway. But like, just again, I am speaking anecdotally now. I'm speaking from a place of raw emotion, not from a place of logic where I should be speaking.
Mm,
But at least at the time, when I was that age, I saw the people in these groups and on Reddit posts and on YouTube comments, and like they were all like 14, 15, so often from like countries with lower average incomes, who like just go like, oh my god, this is fire, like, oh my god, so amazing, bro, like we're on this journey together, keep up the grind. And 99% of those people will never ever make it. But the copywriting guru on the other end of the screen doesn't care about that. They
none.
care about the 20% of them who are going to pay them money to try and learn it.
Yeah.
You know, I've no problem with someone that's young wanting to do this. By the way, it's not what I'm saying. Like, I was young and I wanted to do this. I have a problem with people who take advantage of that lack of experience to directly, indirectly, subtly, like push people into thinking, oh, you are almost guaranteed to earn this amount of money by doing these kind of methods, and they'll like, occasionally throw in like, oh yeah, it's hard work. But that's completely overshadowed by the constant 10K, 15K, six figure. And yeah, it was what I was faced with when I started, and it really annoys me, which is why copy that is not going to be that.
Yeah, you and I share very similar values. I come at it from a different perspective, which is like I'm old enough and have done enough to have marketer's remorse. And so I know the black hat shit. Like I know how to do the not so scrupulous stuff. I know exactly what I would need to say in order to cultivate a following that would be willing to give me hundreds or thousands of dollars for mediocre products. I can do that. I know that I can do that because I've done it and I don't want to do it anymore. And so like I look at the grand scope and scheme of things, and I think the biggest gripe that I have right now is that, copywriting has sort of replaced drop shipping as like the get rich quick scheme du jour. And copywriting, despite like the broader entrepreneurship side hustle culture, it's a small pond. We're speaking to ultimately a fairly small subculture of people with many different subdivided subcultures within it, which I'll talk about in a second. And there are some people, I would say us, who kind of realize, yeah, we do live in a small pond. And in those situations, it's typically better to collaborate, to coordinate, and to try to clean up and make sure that we're all sort of like pulling each other up and being better. But once people realized that there was money in this small pond, they started shitting in it to just scrape up as many resources as they possibly could before the pond dried up. And I don't like that a whole lot because, again, integrity is important to me. I feel it's important to try to comport oneself with, humility, moderation, integrity, things like that. And in the marketing world, you're actively incentivized. Like there's a monetary reward for you to behave unethically. Totally. Like there's a huge monetary reward for that. There is no reward for behaving good, with one exception. And that goes back to what I was saying about the different subcultures. There are people that are scrupulous enough and aware enough and experienced enough that they sort of, without us having to say that, oh, we are the most ethical, most, kindest, generous copywriting channel in the world. There are people out there who are able to use their brains and recognize, quality when it rises to the top. And we don't need to have the biggest channel. We don't need to have the biggest voice in the room or be the biggest fish in the pond to have people be aware of that and to speak to a really cool like subgroup in that larger pond of prospects who would respond positively to the messages and the information that we try to put out. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, one final thought for me, which is at FixFest, that's actually quite a cool story, I guess, to say, because it is fun. I was after the event, it kind of immediately ended. I got my laptop out. I went just to the back of the hall just to get away from kind of like the noise because I had to reply to a few messages. I talked to my team, stuff like that. Because it was a day event and I was away in London, and I just felt this presence kind of move like in front of me, and I was just typing, and I kind of felt like, and I kind of looked up, and there's just this guy looking at me, and he was like, "You right?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And he was like, "Alex," and I was like, "Yeah, who are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm Steve." I was like, "I know you from Copy That," and I was like, "Oh, cool. Oh, amazing!" And like that was weird, like actually having someone in real life recognize you from YouTube. That was really cool. He was just like, "Oh yeah," because I asked Mark Ford a question like on the microphone, and he was like, "Oh, I heard your voice on the mic." He's like, and I was like, "I know that voice." It's like I've listened, and he showed me he my 5 hour video, he downloaded it as an MP3 and he chopped it up and he was like listening to it as he was walking around London. Guy called Steve, awesome guy, super nice. Again, got drunk with him, really cool. Ex Agora actually,
Oh wow.
as well. So, and he's a patron. And what he said to me, and we'll talk about this in more detail with Rod and Lindsay as well, Sean. But like, he said you guys, he said, are so authentic. He said, I love it. He's like, I will give you money for no other reason than because you're the only people out there doing it authentically. Um, you know, or like one of the only. Obviously, we were at Fix Fest, so he likes Glenn and Nick as well.
Yeah.
But he just said like because he is a bit more experienced in the marketing world and he's like been through it and he's like ex Agora and stuff. He's like the people who like you are people, broadly speaking, or a lot of the people who like you are people who already know what's good and what's not. That was so heartwarming. That was like having someone in front of you in a pub saying to you like that this is the thing that you want in life, the thing that you're trying to aim is working. Like that hit super hard. So thank you, Steve, if you're watching this.
Steve, I love you.
I love him. I'm pretty sure I said that a few times during the night. We
Yeah.
we got each other pints, so it's the British way to
That's,
say.
that's how
thank you.
British people show love to each other. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah.
a big win, similar kind of win for me recently along those lines was do you know Tanya Yo?
Yeah. That way, she's mentioned me on LinkedIn before, and yeah, great person.
She recently like reached out at like interviewed me on a podcast, from the classroom to copy, and she was telling me about how like when she first learned of copywriting, she saw some stuff that I had written online, specifically the Copywriting Collective Discord, and like that was a big early educator and motivator for her. Like apparently I was her first, like, this is what long form copy is, what it can be, what it can do. This is how financial copy even works. And apparently like that lit a fire under her butt. And like 4 or 5 years later of just like grinding and grinding and grinding, she just got a job at Stansberry and Associates as a copywriter. She's from Georgia. She's originally from Singapore. And she got a job at literally one of the biggest and one of the best financial publishing companies in the world. And she was just like, oh yeah, and you were the first. And I was like, oh my heart. Yeah. It's wonderful.
Super. Yeah, she's awesome. She's just an awesome person. Like I follow her exploits on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same. So many, and it's something we'll do in my script actually for one of the big videos. In that 12-hour course that we're bringing out. One of the things I know we need to do better is show our proof and show the people we've helped. And I was just kind of thinking, like today about that because I was scripting a bit of it, and I was like, shit, there are a lot of people we've actually helped who now say like, oh yeah, who are having like 5-figure months or do this full time or just living comfortably. Like Cody, Elise, Umar, Gabs, like people who came in through like the Copyright Collective or through Copy That or through my old agency, who I was or we were or you were their first like exposure to copywriting, their first kind of mentor or first video, and like that's so heartwarming. Cool. It's not like I was talking about this the other day with someone. It's not the views on like the 5-hour video or like subscribers, or it's not like the numbers, and it's certainly not the money we earn. It's certainly not the money we earn from this. But it's not the figures and the numbers that like get me excited or get me go like, oh my god, that's amazing, or like, yeah, when like the 5-hour video first got to like 100,000, I was like, oh my god, like I was like, I never expected this. Since then, it's been like cool, like yeah, it's fine, and comments are awesome, like having that, but it's having individuals say like, you changed my life in this way, or like you were the first one to do this, whether it be Tanya, whether it be Steve, Elise, Cody, fucking Gabs, anyone, it's super nice thinking back to all of that and all the comments I get and all the messages and emails. Like, so I just appreciate that, guys. We're getting emotional now, but yeah, it's so nice.
We got sentimental and loopy, and what we should have done is read more Patreon copy, but we ended up just chatting.
Shit, that always happens. Don't worry.
Well,
Hang on.
we are going to have a quick team meeting, and then yeah, if you want your copy critiqued, and then have us start the critiques, and then talk too long about other stuff, and then us being like, oh, we'll have to get to your critique next week, and then keep doing that week after week after week. Well, if you want that experience.
I'm sorry. I promise, guys, we're bringing out some really good stuff.
We are going to do a bonus stream, and we are going to get through all of the product description copy. We're going to do it. We're going to pay people. We're going to do it live.
Sean, I don't know. This might. I want to. One of the. Yeah, obviously, we're doing the 12-hour thing, which is free. We're then doing stuff like way more advanced than that, and it's going to take a lot longer than that, which will be paid, which won't be for beginners. Can we give like some of that? Especially, I want to do like a block of that, which is just for patrons, like just for patrons, like up until a certain point, basically.
What do you mean?
Like people who have backed us up to this point just get something we've worked insanely hard on. They just get it as part of Patreon. That was intended to be paid.
No, like for example, I know you are working on a masterclass about landing pages.
I've done my bit. I now need more stuff from everyone else.
Did you get the recording that I made for you?
Yes. I need Lindsay's and Rod's, so I will chase them.
I also am working on a really robust masterclass about offer creation. And I would love your input on that, because I think that you have more insight on the e-com side of that. But I think what I talk about kind of covers a lot of that. So I will show you my slide deck. And then if you want to like have an interjection for that masterclass, that would be cool. But I'm trying to get us through that 12-hour course by mid-October, at least the scripting aspect of that, so that it can go into production and come out in November and December. So,
damn. Well, yeah, we might make it.
We're not going to make it, but we're going to try.
We're not going to make it. We're going to try. Yeah. I'm also... I'm going to record my e-commerce one and just release that for patrons as well. Like the beginners, like e-commerce and how to make money from it and stuff. Like, so I'm not even going to, I don't know, we might end up selling it at some point, but if you're a patron right now, soon you're going to get a landing page masterclass, you're going to get an offer creation masterclass, and you're going to get an e-commerce masterclass that I made for Kyle Milligan. That was done on his channel that people had to pay a lot of money for.
Yeah.
You're going to get it for free. You're not going to get the Q&A bit of that with Kyle Milligan that I did, which was like, 2 hours, but you're going to get the bulk of the information. So you're going to get that if you're a patron. So look forward to that.
Yeah. All right, let's have a quick team meeting, a little planning meeting, and then you need to go to sleep.
I'm just tired. There's a lot going on right now.
I don't even freaking talk to me about it, man.
And you have kids, so I can't imagine.
Yeah, because the moment that I stop working, I start working.
Hey, it was your sperm, dude.
True. It was all part of the plan. All right,
mine goes in a sock, and okay, right, all right.
We were so good about not swearing, and then we're gonna get demonetized. The channel is gonna get taken down. Copy that will be no more.
All I said was mine goes in a sock. I didn't specify my feet go in socks. That's quite sexy as well. All right, guys. Next time on Copy That.
Find out what Alex is shooting into a sock.
Oh, there you go, Noah. That can end the next highlight reel.
Bye.
See ya.